Hey everybody, welcome to my new show, Gaming Wednesdays, the lowest effort video game review show on the internet. This is a show where I'm going to be talking about some relatively obscure or just not talked about much video games that I have in my collection that I think are interesting or worth playing, that I recommend. Not none of these are probably going to be the most mind-blowing game you ever play in your life, but they are vastly more interesting than most of what you've probably been playing lately, at least in my opinion. So for starters, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite games, House of the Dead Overkill for the Wii. I think this was also released on the PS2 or PS3 with the Move controller. No one has that. So, this is an on-rails shooter game, part of the House of the Dead franchise, which is a classic series of arcade games that were all about this, B-movie horror schlock. They were all, these games where you go through, a giant mansion, like Resident Evil-esque, and shoot a bunch of zombies and shit with guns. This one's themed a little differently, though. This one is specifically Grindhouse themed. It's all about, Z cinema, and each level is themed around some kind of shitty Grindhouse movie. There's a carnival level. There's a one where you're in a bayou, and there's redneck zombies attacking you and stuff like that. It's a bunch of themed Z movie levels, and it's just an on-rails shooter game, which works really well with the Wiimote, because the Wiimote, which is, in my opinion, a terrible controller for most things, is at least good at pointing at a screen and pulling a trigger. And, let me grab something real quick. On Amazon, it's fairly easy to come by these mock-up guns. Here you can see Killer Mike, which we painted. Victor painted this gun. Couldn't find LP, which is the other gun, but that I painted. But yeah, you just slot a Wiimote into here. You can just point at the screen and pull the trigger. It doesn't work beautifully, but it's a fun way to play this game for sure. So, yeah, these exist and they work. It's a beautiful way to play this game. Now, what makes this game special, the reason this is one of my favorite games, is not just because it's a really fun on-rails shooter. It's a great co-op game. Highly recommend playing this with a second person, because the plot is a buddy cop plot. The main characters are this rough talking black dude who's the seasoned cop who's the classic blaxploitation character, and then the other guy is this kind of weird secret agent guy. I think he's probably based somewhat on the agent from Twin Peaks, but he's a much weirder, almost Spurgy character, and the two of them get teamed up, and they fight all these zombies, and the dialogue is just hilarious. Both of them are really well performed roles by their actors. Everyone sounds like they're having a blast making this game. All the dialogue's really funny. There's lots of these, in between levels, there's these fairly long cutscenes that are all pretty hilarious and worth sitting through. So this is actually a game that's worth playing for the story. And I mean, you can blast through the main campaign in one sitting. You and a friend could get together for an afternoon and just play through the whole thing. But there's plenty of bonus content and unlockables and, scores and reasons to go through again and again. But it's also just, the way that it plays with the tropes of the Grindhouse formula is really funny. Because the whole thing is extremely self-aware. It's very much a parody of Grindhouse and a pulled back perspective, and there's lots of commentary on the nature of the genre, and it has one of my favorite endings where the main characters at the very end perform a feminist deconstruction of what just happened. It's really funny. The whole thing, I just really love the dialogue in this game, and I love the characters, and I love that it's such a good two-player game. So, this is a great, grab a buddy, sit down, have fun. If you can find these and use Wiimotes with them. Again, I don't think they work beautifully. I mean, I don't think we have a Wii Motion Plus. Maybe that would help just to make the aiming a little better, because I did have some, occasionally troubles with aiming, especially when using these guns, and they don't pull the trigger very well, because it's just a button that connects to the inside that pushes the button for you. So yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's better models of those plastic guns anyways. But yeah, so this is the kind of game that's easy to come back to again and again over the years. It's sort of a one-sitting party game, but you could introduce new friends to it continually and keep coming back. And I know that I haven't played it yet, but I actually bought. There is a Typing of the Dead version of this on Steam. Typing of the Dead is a sub-series of House of the Dead where you have a keyboard and it'll have a word above a zombie's head, and you have to type it out as fast as you can to kill the zombies. So sort of a type test on-rails shooter game. I haven't played that yet, and I'm a very sloppy typist, so I imagine I'd be terrible at it. But if you don't have a Wii, or you don't don't have the means to put together 2 Wiimotes and a game and a fucking grip, get one of those guns, you just want to buy it for $15 on Steam and enjoy the great storyline, which I assume is ported into the Typing of the Dead version, then yeah, it's on Steam as well. But, I recommend it whatever way you can play it. It's even on PlayStation Move if you can. I think it might be on a few other consoles, but I'm not sure. But yeah, really fun game. I know that House of the Dead has a lot of fans in general, and that there's sort of a narrative between the main games, but this is like an offshoot. I haven't played any of the other ones. I just really recommend this one. So give that a shot, and join me next week for another interesting, relatively obscure game that nobody talks about that I think is really cool. I'll see you then.